Good evening, everyone. Welcome to Closing Comments here on July 31st. Let's check out these charts, see what happened in the markets today. Big red day in the cattle market, finally getting that pullback underway here after we've seen about 4 or 5 weeks of straight upside, picking up about 25 bucks along the way off of this recent low down here near 205 on this October live cattle contract, pushing all the way up to 230, new all-time highs up there at 230.42 yesterday. Good rejection here today, price breaking down off that opening range, selling all day long, hitting limit down at one point, did bounce off of it, and ended up settling the day down there at 223.40, just underneath that bull pivot. At the moment, after we've taken back all of the early gains from this week, we do expect to see the momentum favor the bears here in the near term, so we'll be looking for this downside to continue towards this 220.5 level. This is going to be the next spot. We're going to have to wait and see how this market reacts once it gets there, but the bears should continue pushing. If we take a look on our lower time frame, we can see this 220 to 221 area has had a lot of equal highs and prior lows, making a pretty solid level here. It's not super clean, but there is a blurry line there, so we do want to keep an eye on this 220 to 221 zone and see how the bulls react once we get down there. We also have this rising 20-day moving average settling in right here at 220.64 today. That's going to be a spot we'll have to wait and see how this market reacts once we get there. Below there, we could see this 50-day moving average tested. This big picture uptrend still remains intact. This market was just getting pretty frothy and overdone here, seeing over a 5, what was it yesterday, a 5.1 reading on this heat index, suggesting a pretty overbought territory and that this market was due for a breakdown. And that's what we got today with this big sell-off. We do expect to see support come in. We've got several levels down below us to keep an eye on. Anywhere down from this 216 to 220 area, we do expect to see support come in. We'll just have to wait and see. As this pretty big sell-off today, we could have some pretty impressive momentum by the bears continuing to break down here. But we do expect to see dips be bought up from here as this big picture uptrend remains intact. And the bulls have proved their strength recently, and we expect to see them pick this market back up and send it back to more highs as we head into late summer and early fall. Check out our feeders now. Same story, big red day here, pulling back off these all-time highs. We did see an early all-time high put in on this market at 341.05 and closing the day at 331. So about a $10.50 range here in this feeder market today. Pretty wild swing here back and forth after this recent run-up. Like the fat cattle, we did see this market completely engulf all of the prior 3 days trading range, giving back all of the early gains from this week. We do expect to see this market pull back to this prior level here as well. That corresponds with that 220 to 221 level on those October feeders. These September feeders have a pretty hard line here drawn at 326.5. For about 2 weeks, that price kept this market capped before breaking out above it and acting as support here. And so we'll have to wait and see how this market reacts once we get down there. This level also has the 20-day moving average rising up into here as well as the top end of this trend channel. So quick pullback and bounce off of this 20-day moving average. We could see this market kick right back into gear and carry back up into more all-time highs. We do expect to see this big picture uptrend continue. We're going to have to just wait and see how this market reacts once it hits some of these support levels. We do, in the event of breaking down below 326.5, we do have plenty of support all the way down into this 315 to 320 area, as we do have these rising 50-day moving average and plenty of support below us to offer support and continue this big picture uptrend higher. In the near term, expect more downside to come here as this market tries to find support, but the buyers will be ready to pick this thing back up and continue carrying this very strong market back into new highs as we head into the fall. Over to the December corn futures now. Another day balancing out. We did briefly take out the prior 2-day lows. Looked like we might be heading down towards those contract lows early today, but we did see that market get reversed and ended up closing up there near the highs. We are seeing a pretty heavy concentration of volume here coming in between 410 and 415. If we get bids above this 415 level as we head into tomorrow's action, the bulls could try and mark this thing up as we head into the weekend. So look for prices to rally up into these key moving averages. If the bears aren't able to push this thing lower and make new contract lows, we could see a little bit of a range get carved out here. There's plenty of resistance overhead, and we have to break out above this 430 level before we can confirm any potential uptrends to come from here. So in the meantime, expect plenty of resistance anywhere from this 20-day moving average down here at 419 all the way up to 430. plenty of resistance up there. We could see this market just kind of get trapped here in the low $4 range. So not a whole lot of excitement expected to come from this corn market at the moment. Just expect either continued rangy action or just a nice slow drift lower down towards that $4 range. Crude oil seeing some resistance up there at the $70 mark here today, giving back some of yesterday's action and ended up settling down here just below 70 bucks. At the moment, we do expect to see this market continue to chop sideways around these key moving averages, as this market has been comfortable in the mid-60s to low 70s. So wouldn't be surprised to see just continued choppy action here in the low 70s to mid-60s as we finish out the week. And last but not least, let's head over to the equity side of things. Big red day over here in the equity markets. Not quite to the extent of that cattle market, but saw some good downside here today. Seeing a pushback down here towards this 20-day moving average. We could see a support step in here as this we spent a couple weeks trading in the 62.40 to 63.40 range. These prior highs up here at 63.40 could act as support as we are down here testing some of these prior highs. Good lows coming in today at 63.46. We'll have to wait and see how this market responds in this area. It has been very resilient and strong, so if the bulls are able to find support at this level, wouldn't be surprised to see this uptrend continue and just see a nice steady bounce off this 20-day moving average. However, if we do get below it, expect a 62.40 to trade and to look for support to come in down here lower. We'll just have to wait and see and monitor that situation for potential buying opportunities. But we do expect to see dips be bought up from here as this market remains strong and healthy, and we should see more upside head into the summer. That's all we got for tonight. Everyone have a good evening.